It's hard, isn't it? Hard trying to be special. It's easy being mediocre. It is really hard to try to be special.
Indeed it is. That's why we strive for mediocrity here
All
on
the
the
time.
Red and Blue Review. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Oxmoor Country Club. Howie Lindsay has built us a roaring fire. We've got the Christmas tree. We are ready to roll. My take today on the University of Kentucky. Calipari says they did improve some in the game against Portland. Negligible. He's holding on for the best holiday time of the world, Camp Cal. Once the classes are over, 3-a-days, baby. Here they come.
And at Louisville, it's just been all celebration. I mean, the last 2 straight weeks, you know, it's ACC and your coach is staying and everything's coming up roses. Basketball is doing extremely well. So everything's going well at Louisville. We'll get into certainly all of that. The Red and Blue Review is coming to you today from Oxmoor Country Club, where joined before January 1st, no dues until 2013, and free golf cart rentals all the way until March 1st, oxmoorcc.com.
And we're going to see if we can struggle by today without Gary Gupton, who is on assignment. We're going to talk basketball and football. We're talking red, we're talking blue right now in our lightning round. This edition of the Lightning Round is brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you one text or call could wreck it all. Big man on campus today at University of Kentucky is the entire team. As we saw the lead-in the show today, Howie, John Calipari is asking his team, do you want to be special? The question is, do they? We'll find out.
There's 8 or 10 teams that are better than all the rest of the teams in the country. Do you want to be one of those 8 or 10 teams? And what are you willing to do to be one of those 8 or 10 teams? Or don't you want to be one of those 8 or it's too hard? I want to be one of those 8 or 10. You mean to tell me we got to go 3-a-days to be one of those? I'm good. Let's be top 50 and hope we make the NCAA tournament. But if we're in the NIT, it's a good run to New York. You can be that team too. I mean, which team do you want to be? Because I'm looking at everybody in the country saying we're probably 50 to 100 right now, but we could be top 10, top 8. And those 8 are the only ones that truly have a chance to win the whole thing. Now, do you want to be those or not? And that was my challenge to him.
I absolutely love the way John Calipari addresses issues. If you were sitting on front row during the press conference, you had to keep your feet up because the sarcasm was oozing off the top of the table and running, spilling down at your feet. But he's right. I think he's dead on. There's no way this is a top 10 team at this point in the season. Way too many questions. As I keep saying over, to me, it still looks like an AAU team. Everybody's kind of out for their own. They're doing what they know, what they're comfortable with. And at some point, he's got to break that down, and that's the challenge. He's telling them finals are coming up this week, and after finals, it's 3-a-days. So he's laid it out to the team and to the public. If this is going to be a special team, you'll see it when we come out the other end of this 3-week break. Then we'll be special, or maybe we won't.
You know, I look at this team. They're not as talented as last year's team, but I mean, who is?
Yeah.
But they've got the talent to be a top 8 or 10 team, right?
I think they do. There's so many questions, and to me, a lot of it depends on Ryan Harrell. It's going to come back to having a point guard who can handle it, who can run this team, because Archie Goodwin needs to be at the 2 and get him scoring. And so much, everybody needs to be where they belong, and that hinges on Ryan Harrell. But it's an awfully thin group. It's always thin. It feels like it's even more thin than ever.
Yeah, it does. It does. The big man on campus at Louisville is Russ Smith, 31 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. Russ Smith did absolutely everything for Louisville against UMKC.
People take him for granted, you know, and just think he's this playground player. But, you know, I felt sorry for him and gave him a scholarship because I've known him since a little kid at my basketball camp. And he's grown into and I say that facetiously, he's grown into a very good basketball player. Rebounds. You know, he called me last night, texted me last night, and said, how about Rondo? He's got all these rebounds and almost has a triple-double at half. I said, how many rebounds are you going to get me? You're going to get me 8 tomorrow. And he got me 7, and he tried to get the 8 and steal Montrez's at the end of the game. So he knows exactly what he has in the games. But I think he's one of the best players in the country. And, you know, nobody will talk. We love him so much. We joke about him so much that nobody takes, like, your question seriously. But without question, I wouldn't campaign for him, but without question, I think he's one of the premier guards in the country.
And the question there was, is Russ Smith a candidate for an All-American, for a National Player of the Year? And I think even a month ago, I think most people would be like, no, come on, are you serious? But, you know, Louisville's going to be a top 5 team. he's going to average 20-something points a game. If you're averaging 20 points a game on the top 5 team, on a Final Four team, you're a national player of the year candidate. So Russ Smith was absolutely dominant against Kansas City, and that's really what brought up the question after the game. Coach, are you going to start campaigning for this kid to be National Player of the Year?
Now, here's what the thing that noticed me on the stat sheet that jumped out was 5 assists from
Wow.
Russ Smith. I figured the ball had to slip out of his hand 5 times and roll to someone else. But we need to kind of refresh fans' memories on this. It's a pretty incredible story. This is the kid who was transferring out to Manhattan, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's going to Manhattan. I mean, nobody really talks about it now, but, I mean, the thought was, well, Stephen Masiello's going to Manhattan. Russ will go with him. He'll sit out a year, and then, he can play whatever kind of basketball he likes. He has grown so incredibly. It's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. His offensive game is phenomenal, and he can't be stopped on the wing. I don't see anybody stopping him.
And it does sound a little ridiculous, National Player of the Year, but forget the team. If you're top 5, your leading scorer is considered for Player of the Year.
That's right.
It's that simple. It really is. Moving on to the busted segment in our lightning round. The University of Kentucky team is getting busted because John Calipari says they've got to figure out how to finish games.
Here's what happens. In a normal college game, if you got 2 teams fighting, one team will hang out around for a half, and then about the 12-minute mark, the 10-minute mark, the 11-minute mark, they'll let go of the rope, and that's when you go in that 12-0, 12-2, 14-2, and that's the ball game, okay? But that's been us, the team that let go. And so we're trying to get that to be who we are now. The way we finished the game, and again, I had to coax him into playing, and I shouldn't have to. I mean, I shouldn't be on a guy, come on, play, bother the ball. Scramble, stay down. What? What is that, strategy? I mean, that's basically how I'm coaching right now.
Yeah, the alarming point is the fact, especially against Samford, absolutely destroyed them in the first half, came out in the second half and let them play even. Not good. A little bit of the same, another slow start in the second half against Portland on Saturday, to the point where John Calipari is considering changing his lineup to start the second half, going with something that'll jumpstart this group more so they don't have that lapse. And that's just part, to me, that screams freshman-dominated team. They don't know how to step on the throat and put the other team out of its misery.
It is a learned skill.
Yes, it is.
Now, what's busted at Louisville are opposing guards. If you try to bring the ball up the court against Louisville's guys right now, you're not making it. Peyton Siva, Russ Smith, they're going to steal the ball and run down court for a dunk.
I haven't seen too many guys since I go back to the mid-'60s, since Clyde Frazier could steal the ball like that on the ball like Russ does. I mean, he picks you clean and makes no contact. I haven't seen too many players in my lifetime do what he does. And he's great at it. Well, he really never played a stitch of defense when he first came here. He really didn't. And I'm sure Coach Curran at Archbishop Malloy right now, one of the best high school coaches in the nation for so many years, is probably sitting back in his armchair and says, where'd this kid come from? Because he never guarded a soul.
How about Rick Pitino busting into the old barbershop routine? That boy reminds me of Clyde Frazier. That's what
Clyde the Glide.
Oh wow! And what a great comparison there. Now Russ Smith, of course, every time Rick Pitino makes a comparison, the fans are like, "Oh no, he just made another comparison," because Russ might have the Rick Pitino jinx in the next game. But he's just so quick with his hands, and I was trying to figure out how to describe it. It's like a ferret. Have you ever seen a ferret go after something? He's got these little tiny hands, and he's so pestering. It's unbelievable.
I know. We're still a few weeks away. We're going to get to a huge storyline when rivals Kentucky and Louisville battle. How does Ryan Harrow, who has been struggling to get back, and Archie Goodwin handle that pressure from Russ Smith on the defensive end, getting the ball up the court? That's going to be fascinating to watch.
It really will be. I mean, that's going to be a key point in this game.
All right, we're up to our What's Nuts segment on the lightning round. No doubt about it. What's nuts is dragging these kids out of bed at 7 a.m. for conditioning. All we need is John Calipari sounding reveille on his bugle. The fact is, these cats are doing more before 7 a.m. than most fans do the entire day.
The reason I'm doing it, it's not how much we're killing them in the workouts. It's that you got to get up at 7 o'clock and do it, which means you're up at 6:30. The biggest fight you have most of the time for all of us is that early morning wake-up call. That's the biggest fight you have all day. Well, you don't think they have it? Now, if I can get them when they feel like that, having to condition and get their heart rate up, that means in a game when they don't feel like going, they know they have something in the tank. So I told them, I'm working on you mentally more than even physically in the mornings.
And he's absolutely right. And he's came out with, there's not much basketball at all at 7 a.m. We're talking conditioning. To me, every coach, every year, he said, well, we got to break down this team so we can build them back up. I think that screams this year. I've never seen to the point where this group, as talented as they are not playing as a team, so he's got to break it down to the bare minimum where all they can do is depend on each other to get through that 7 a.m. He builds camaraderie in that regard, and that's how this team gets better and better. One aspect, he's right, it's very much a mental game.
I think when you're looking at December or January, fans are just going to be shocked. I mean, that's what he's done in the past.
That's what's always happened.
You know, what's nuts for Louisville is that Charlie Strong turned down the SEC. Not just any SEC job either. SEC East, where he's, you know, had his home for forever, and an SEC East school that had 100,000 fans. That's nuts.
We just sat down as a family, and my wife and daughters, and it was just a family decision. And you take so much into account. You talk about your coaching staff, you talk about your administrative staff, you talk about everyone within this building and how you affect their lives also. Not only your life, and a lot of times you let your ego get in the way because you kind of sit there and you say, you know what, I can go into that conference and I probably can go beat this team, I can go beat this team, I can go beat this, but you kind of let your ego get in the way. Then you start thinking about, it's not about that. It's about people, and it's about how you affect their lives.
How remarkable is that? I mean, you know, what was thought to be nuts 2 years ago is no longer. Charlie has revolutionized this job. I think the ACC has helped tremendously in terms of what Louisville is as a program. And to hear a coach say that he put his ego on the back burner, essentially said money was going to be the same. His ego was telling him, go to Tennessee, play Florida, play Georgia, you know, play in front of 100,000 fans. His family and the people he considers family, which are his players, all said, we want you to stay, and he stayed. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I got the chance to talk to some of the players, you know, on Friday, and they were just saying that to them it was not as big of a story because they didn't think he'd leave. I think the rest of us were like, oh, he was close. He was real close.
When you saw Wisconsin's Brett Bielema leave so he could have an opportunity to be in the SEC at Arkansas, that made you sense logical that Charlie was going to do the same thing.
Absolutely. Now, when we come back here on the Red and Blue Review, we're going to hear from Kentucky's football coach, and we're also going to hear that the Cardinals think they're big-time underdogs. But first, Daryl to tell you about Cat's Paws. Appreciate
it very much. I don't know how he can sing along with the First Noel, but that's the next issue coming out, the First Noel, as a tribute to the holiday season and Camp Cow that is upon us, the most wonderful time of the year. You can easily subscribe, makes a wonderful Christmas present, magazine.catspaws.com.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
My name is Corey Kaufman. I'm here with touring professional Jared Wolf. Here, to me, this is the hardest shot in golf, the long bunker shot. Jared, what are some keys for you to hit this golf shot?
Well, usually your normal players will grab a 60-degree or a sand wedge and try to hit it, and that just leads to way too many issues, too many variables. So I take a 54 or a 50 and use pretty much the same shot as a short bunker shot, but always accelerating.
All right, let's see it. Great shot there, bud. So what were your keys again to hitting this shot?
This one I took the 54. I opened my stance a little bit, accelerated through the ball, acted like it was a normal short bunker shot, but just with more club, and the ball came out nicely and went up to a couple feet.
Perfect. If you want to learn this shot, you can visit me, Corey Kaufman, at Oxmoor Country Club.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Josh Schneider. I'm the head golf professional at Oxmoor Country Club. You can play golf anywhere, but if you're serious about improving your game, you need to be at Oxmoor Country Club. We recently invested in our practice facility that makes it one of the best in the city. Whether you want to work on your wedge game, your bunker play, your putting, your mid-iron play, or your full swing with the driver, we have the facilities that will make you better. If you want to get better, please come see us at Oxmoor Country Club. Now back to the Red and Blue Review.
They do have great facilities out here and great professionals as well, and I need a lot of help.
I was listening to that, I'm thinking, Howie, and Howie.
I need a full game makeover,
Yes,
absolutely, like the new teeth and the Spanx and the hair extensions, all the whole thing. Yeah, so it's now time for your Game Time Storylines. The Game Time Storylines are brought to you by the Kentucky State Police, who remind you to leave space for trucks.
And we are shifting gears in the show from basketball. We're talking football. New Kentucky coach Mark Stoops, in Game Time Storyline number 1 is talking defense.
You know, I'm a defensive guy. This is the SEC. You know, it's a very physical conference, and I realize that. And I want to be tough, and I want to be physical. And, you know, we have to build this foundation with great defense. There's no way around it. If you don't play great defense, you're not going to win consistently. Yeah.
I think Mitch Barnhart was dead on target on this because you think of all the candidates out there, he eliminated a huge chunk of the field from the get-go by saying, I'm going defensive-minded head coach. I mean, that was his line in the sand, and he wasn't going to deviate from that. So no tells how many people he knocked out. But I think he's right. The fans had grown a little weary of, even in the good old days of scoring 30 but giving up 35. And then last year it was just miserable all the way around. Yes, you want an exciting offense. You've got to be able to stop somebody in this league, and that's what's behind this hiring of Mark Stoops. And he's going to hire an offensive coordinator. It's going to make it a lot of fun on that side, but you've got to play defense.
You do have to play defense. Louisville certainly learned that. Game Time Storyline number 2 for Louisville, it's all about the guards. Gorgui Dieng is out of the lineup. That means Russ Smith, Peyton Siva getting a lot of touches. You know, Rick Pitino was asked, could he run any more plays for Russ Smith?
I can't run any more things for Russ. If I run any more things, I mean, we isolate him more than any. Peyton and Russ get more pick and rolls than any tandem in the country. So I can't run any more for Russ. Everything's run to Peyton and Russ right now. Everything. So he's getting any more, and our front court will kill me.
What was left unsaid was that Russ Smith actually paid that reporter $5 to ask the question if he could get any more plays run to him. He really can't. I mean, a lot of the offense right now runs through Russ Smith, and it should, because he's probably the best offensive player on the court. When Gorgui Dieng comes back, I think more will be run that way. But I do think you're not seeing as much Shane Bohannon as I think we all thought you would during the summer, frankly, because Russ Smith's just been too good.
Absolutely right. As everyone knows by now, the Red and Blue Review is coming to you today from the Oxmoor Country Club, which is the home for student golfers. For less than $1,500, your junior golfer gets full access to the course, practice area, and other students who are serious about competitive golf. Simply go to oxmoorcc.com. Game Time Storyline number 2, we're going back to football, and we are going to let Mark Stoops talk about offense.
We're going to have an offense that you guys are going to enjoy. I promise you that. We're going to have an offense that you're going to be proud of. We're going to get out there and rip it around a little bit. We'll have a physical presence about us, but we will spread it out, and we'll use some bells and whistles to get the run game going and again, be a little bit creative.
He's absolutely, that's what you have to do. And we've had this argument with, there are diehard Kentucky football fans who say, this is the SEC, we're going to be a top-tier SEC program. And they may get there at some point, but you are not lining up nose to nose with Alabama and blowing them off the line. That's not going to happen. So I've always thought Kentucky football, I thought Hal Mumme had it right. He lost his mind and that whole thing went to a mess, but they were different. They had to be creative. You had to figure out another way. I can't line up nose to nose with you, but I can get out on the corner and my little guy can outrun your bigger guy. They've got to be creative in that regard, and that's exactly, I think they're onto something. Defensive-minded coach admits that he's got to have an offense that's a little outside the box, and we'll see what happens. Looks good.
Our final Game Time storyline is all about the underdogs. Louisville, the Cardinals are going into the Sugar Bowl against Florida, one of the best teams in the country, and Louisville's probably going to be a 16 to 18 point underdog, but they haven't let that get in their minds just yet.
Oh yeah, just ever since we won from Rutgers game, there's been excitement. Most of us didn't get our voices back for like 5 days later. Just been excited. And, it's going to be a big time playing this BCS for the first time. Like we said, we're going to take what's given to us, and it's like I said, it's a big stage. So we always going to be seen as the underdog. It could be a 20-point favorite for the other team, but we just going to come in focused, ready to play.
And that was Akeem Smith. I think Louisville's going into this thinking, all right, we are the underdog, but I think they're much more comfortable as the underdog role. They seemed to relish it last year. This year, maybe they've faded a little bit, when the UConn game and the Syracuse game, where they're big time favorites. So I think Louisville likes the underdog role. Charlie likes the underdog role. And every coach everywhere loves the no respect card,
Absolutely right. Coming up after the break, we're going to tell you what John Calipari wants to see from Nerlens Noel. But first, Howie is going to tell us what you want to see from CardinalSports.com.
You got it. CardinalSports.com is your best source for all the post-game videos, stories, interviews, all that kind of thing. Check it out. We post all those videos online at CardinalSports.com. You can go in there and watch them all. And, after every game, you get a full report on your team.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah, I know.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Welcome back to Oxmoor Country Club. My name is Corey Kaufman. There's no reason for you to take off this winter. Come join me in our indoor facility to work on your game. Now back to the Red and Blue Review.
See, Howie, there's no excuse. You could be in there right now improving all 5 aspects of that game that you're talking about.
Nice.
The difference maker for the University of Kentucky this week, John Calipari has a lot of lessons to be learned for Nerlens Noel.
You know, he started limping, and we took him out. If you want to play, fake it. Don't limp. And play. And so he went back in, and I said, you're an energy guy. You're not a skill guy. You're not an up and under swing and a hook shot. That's not who you are. You're an energy guy. Play with energy.
Clearly, Nerlens Noel needs to see Monty Python's Holy Grail search. It's only a flesh wound. Get back out there, son. And he is. It's interesting. He does not have the skill of Anthony Davis, nowhere near that. He is all energy.
And for Louisville, the difference maker is Damian Copeland. Now, Devontae Parker is the most talented receiver. Damian Copeland, I think, is the most productive receiver.
Just the trust. It starts in practice. You know, Teddy just throwing, pitching, and catching in practice, and then carrying over to Saturdays. Yes, you know, like I say, I just go out every day to practice and work for my team and carry it over to Saturdays.
Copeland is just so incredibly talented. He's got the ability to grab passes out of the air. He and Teddy Bridgewater have some kind of really cool connection going on. It's remarkable to see.
It absolutely is. That's almost getting us to the end. Coming up from University of Kentucky this week, Lipscomb. We're not going to learn much, but it is the first few days into Camp Cal.
And Louisville's got Memphis coming up. The Tigers, an old rival, and it should be fun to see those two go back and forth. Memphis isn't that good this year. Thanks for joining us this week on the Red and Blue Review.